Good evening, everyone. This is David Paulides, and you are listening to the Missing 411 podcast. We're going deep tonight, deep into the quiet, heavily wooded heart of Connecticut, a place that looks like a New England postcard of tranquility. But the woods don't always keep the peace. Sometimes they just keep the secrets. What happens when two men, separated by just 5 months and a few miles, simply vanish from the same area? We're examining two cases from New London County. These cases are night and day, yet they share the same chilling endpoint, an empty space where a person used to be. The questions they raise, however, might lead us far beyond the state lines, maybe even to a place you weren't expecting. Stick with me, because later we will discuss the shocking testimony of a former Canadian defense minister. He was a man who broke the code of silence on what he believed was behind some of the most baffling disappearances we investigate in Missing 411. Let's start with the first case, Stephen Joseph Gush. Stephen was a man of structure, a former military policeman, a homeowner in Ledyard, pursuing an IT degree, recently married, 38 years old, a clean-cut life, except for that final stage. Stephen vanishes on March 29th, 2025. His last known plan was a hike in the Candlewood Hill Wildlife Management Area. This is a 200-acre district of granite ridges, vernal ponds, and pitch pine forest. When the search began, his vehicle was quickly located at the edge of the park entrance. And here is the first chilling flag we see so often in these types of disappearances. His wallet and his phone were inside the vehicle. He walked away, leaving behind his identifiers, his lifeline, and his way to call for help. It's like he was preparing to shed his old life completely. The only question is, why? Stephen was a big man, 6'2", 210 pounds. He doesn't just disappear. The search was massive. Drones, state police divers, and K-9 teams scouring the area. 200 acres is manageable, but Stephen was not found. Not a trace. There was no sign of struggle, no evidence of a sudden accident, and the dogs just stopped. The official reports suggest the scent simply vanished near the trailhead, as if Stephen had stepped off the face of the earth, or perhaps stepped into something else. He fit the profile of a hiker, a clean background, and he vanished from a wild area, a classic. Missing 411 pattern. Now, the next case. It's a total departure, separated by just 5 months and a short drive to Lebanon, Connecticut. This is Charles Henry Borgo Jr., who disappears on October 10th, 2024. Charles was also a big man, 6'4", 235 pounds, but his background, unlike Stephen's, was troubled. He had drug convictions and was likely out on parole. He was at a friend's house in an area called Birch Plain Creek at 8 p.m. He said he was stepping outside to meet a friend. That's the last time anyone saw him. It sounds less like a hike and more like a prearranged, dangerous rendezvous. Charles was on a tight leash. Mandatory check-ins, no drugs, no associating with known criminals. A life where the consequences of a wrong move mean going back inside for years. Did he run, or was he forced to disappear? Searchers found a few pieces of clothing and a cell phone, but the police never definitively confirmed they belonged to Charles. This lack of concrete identification in a high-stakes investigation is highly unusual. Two men missing from the same small slice of Connecticut. Stephen Gush, the clean-cut veteran, vanishes from designated wilderness. Charles Borgo Jr., the man with warrants, vanishes from the edge of civilization. I do not believe these cases are related by human hands. But what if there is a common factor that supersedes individual choice or criminal motive? What if the area itself, this region of granite, water, and deep forest, is a magnet for something we don't understand? Something that targets men, regardless of their background, and takes them with impossible efficiency? This is where the standard police investigation ends, and the terrifying missing 411 inquiry begins. This is where we talk about the late, great Paul Hellyer. Hellyer was a former Canadian Minister of National Defense. He held one of the most powerful, classified positions in the G8. And he chose to risk everything to speak a truth no one wanted to hear. In a 2021 interview, Hellyer stated, "UFOs are as real as the planes flying overhead." He said he spoke with a general who confirmed that U.S. officials had face-to-face meetings with sentient beings from other star systems. Hellyer believed that the development of atomic power on Earth acted as a beacon, drawing an influx of alien species, a weekend traffic of concerned and curious visitors. He spoke of an Army manual listing 54 different species visiting Earth. Some, like the tall whites, could walk among us unnoticed. Others, like the Draco reptilians, were aligned with a darker spiritual force. Hellyer said, "We are fighting a spiritual battle, a conflict being waged on Earth." He suggested that the global cabal controlling our world was influenced by or in league with these darker off-world forces. Could this influence extend to creating breaks in our reality? This brings us back to Connecticut, to Stephen Gush, who left his phone and his wallet behind. Was he looking for an escape offered not by a friendly relative, but by an unseen force, a non-human agency? The cases of people vanishing from the wilderness often involve conditions that defy explanation. Highly experienced individuals, canine seconds, losing scent at the boundary, clothes found neatly folded. These are the hallmarks of a profound disruption. Hellyer suggests that a conflict is being waged on Earth, a struggle for control. Is it possible that the granite ridges of Connecticut hide a permanent dimensional rift, a place that acts as a sort of collection point, temporarily opening and closing, harvesting individuals regardless of whether they were hiking or fleeing a parole violation? The question remains, were they taken? Stephen Gush's case remains open in Namas, waiting for a DNA match that may never come. Charles Borgo's fate is equally uncertain. The woods keep their secrets. But perhaps, as Paul Hellyer warned, those secrets involve visitors who hold the key not just to the fate of these two men, but to the future of the human species. Until next time, be safe and watch your back in the woods. This is David Pilatus, signing off.